Alright, boys and girls, we're going to practice making some food pictures today, kind of like my example right here. Before we talk about that, though, we need to talk about a new artist, and his name is Wayne Thiebaud. This is a picture of him right here. Wayne Thiebaud is an artist who was a painter, and he lived a long time ago. He's not alive today, but what he really loved to paint were very large, detailed pictures of food. He really loved pictures of food. So Wayne Thiebaud was an artist that we call a pop artist. The reason why we call him a pop artist is because his paintings of food were very brightly colored, and they kind of popped out at you when you looked at them. All the colors that he added to his food pictures. He really loved to go inside of bakeries and see all these cakes and donuts and cupcakes and sweet foods. This painting right here is very brightly colored. You can see all the little spots of paint that he adds to his pictures to really make them pop out at you. So we're going to get some inspiration from Mr. Thiebaud today to make our own food pictures. So what you're going to start with at your table, there are some directions like this that will show you how to draw different types of food. Cupcake, a cake, a donut, and a pie. Now these types of food that are on these pictures right here are kind of a special type of drawing because they're not just flat, they have what we call form. So when I look at this cake right here, it has rounded edges and it has many sides to it. It almost looks like I could pick it up and hold it. It's not a cake that looks flat like this. It's a cake that has form. Same thing for the donut and the pie. It has many sides and curves. We can see that it has form. So we're going to practice making 1, 2, 3, 4 foods today that look like they have form. So I'm going to start with 2 pieces of white paper at my table. I should just need 2 to make all 4 of my pieces of food. So I'll start with 1 here. And I think I'm going to start with the cupcake. So I'm going to start with my pencil and I'm going to draw the cupcake, and then we're going to use chalk pastel to color the cupcake. So I will start with my white paper and my directions worksheet. Now these worksheets right here will show you how to make each of these foods going from step 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way to the end. So I'm going to draw kind of big on my white paper, cut it in half, and I'm going to try and fill this white space up here. So I'll start with the first step, which is this shape right here, the bottom of the cupcake. Kind of like a square, but the sides are a little bit longer. We call this a trapezoid. Now next step is I'm going to have some lines here for the bottom of the cupcake. The next step looks like it's kind of a rounded top like this. The next step, it looks like it gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And a little frosting on top. And then the very last step is looks like it's sitting on a plate here. So I'm going to start at the edge of the cupcake and go around and stop. Okay. Now, I'm going to draw my 4 pieces of food, so then maybe I'll draw the cake here, the donut here, and the pie here. So let's just pretend I finished all of my food drawings. I'm going to grab my chalk pastel and start to color in my food drawings. So you can use whatever colors you like. I think I'm going to stick to the style of Wayne Thiebaud and use some really bright colors. So as I draw on top of my drawing, if I get enough chalk on here, I can carefully use my finger to just blend out the chalk a little bit. I don't want to get too crazy with the chalk, I just want to blend it a little bit, very carefully with my finger. I think I can add some patterns. Maybe I want this cupcake to look like it has some sprinkles on it, so I'll do a little dot pattern. Now, I'm not going to blend this out because if I blend out my pattern, it's going to go smushy and go away. I want it to be just sitting on top of the pink. Maybe I'll do some blue frosting on top of there. And smooth it out very carefully with my finger. Maybe some green frosting on top of there. Now I do remember something when we were making our outer space pictures and we used chalk pastel. I did teach you how to add something called a shadow and a highlight to make your planets look like they had shadows and like they were form. So I can even take my black and my white chalk And I can practice doing some shadows and highlights. So maybe I want to do a white spot on this side to make this frosting look like it has a highlight. And maybe a dark spot on this side for a shadow. That's looking very real. Those shadows and highlights in there. Okay, I'm going to keep going until I've colored in the whole cupcake. Very nice and neat. Now, let's pretend I've colored the whole cupcake. I've colored all my 4 pieces of food. The very last step is to take the black piece of paper that you see at your table, this long piece of black paper, put your name on the bottom or on the back, and then cut out each of your foods, 1, 2, 3, 4, and glue them to your black paper. So imagine this is your bake shop, and you're cutting out your food and you're putting them on display in your bake shop. So I just cut out each of my foods and glued them down. And then I even added a little plate down the bottom of each with my chalk pastel. Okay, so that's what we're going to practice today. Now, what if, boys and girls, you don't want to make pies and cupcakes and cakes and donuts? That's okay. You could just, if you wanted to, draw your own food. Maybe you really like hamburgers. That's fine. You can try and draw some of your own food as well. Okay, so be creative.